Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Weird Sports for February 7th, 2025. This is the Super Bowl episode where we talk all about the Eagles and Chiefs facing off for the Lombardi Trophy. Should be a very exciting game. I know a lot of people are a bit down on this matchup. We just saw it 2 years ago. Everyone thinks that the refs are rigging it for the Kansas City Chiefs, and maybe you're right, but I'm going to try to have some fun with it. I love football. This is the last hurrah of football for the season. So I guess let's get into it. We'll start with the Eagles, their journey here to the Super Bowl. They, of course, were the 2 seed in the NFC, posting a 14-3 record this season. They ended up getting home field advantage for the entire playoffs because the Lions lost to the Commanders in the wild card round. They defeated the Packers 22-10 in the divisional round in a very snowy, fun game, especially as a spectator and someone who was not rooting for either team in particular. Very fun at 28-22 victory over the Rams in the divisional round. And then they shellacked the Commanders 55-23 to advance to the Super Bowl for the second time in 3 years. And they are looking to bring a stout defense led by Vic Fangio, and on the field actually led by Jalen Carter, of course. Though he is sick, I'm sure he'll be fine for the Super Bowl. He's not going to miss this, right? So the first ranked defense, will they be able to shut down Patrick Mahomes? Vic Fangio is the man credited with devising the defense that would go on to be replicated around the league, that would shut down the high-flying Kansas City Chiefs offense and, the Dolphins offense, unfortunately. So this should be a great chess match. Vic Fangio versus Andy Reid, offense versus defense. Who's going to come out on top? So that'll be very fun. As for the Chiefs, 15-2, first in the AFC for the playoff seeding. In the divisional round, they defeated the Texans 23-14, and then they played a great game, as they always do, against the Bills in the AFC Championship game, defeating them 32-29 to advance the Super Bowl. Again, they're looking to three-peat. This would be their 4th out of 5 Super Bowls that they are in. Would be like 4th out of 6 Super Bowls that they would have won. And just an all-time run for Andy Reid, for Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, this whole organization. So, it's going to come down to, can the Eagles run the ball as effectively against this Kansas City defense, against Steve Spagnuolo's unit, as they've been able to do in the other playoff games? Saquon Barkley has just been an outstanding addition to this team. He's been somebody who has changed this offense much for the better, just been unstoppable on this playoff run. He's scoring from all over the place, from any spot on the field. It seems like he's sealing games with his long touchdown runs. And, if you're a Giants fan, you have to be sick. But if you're an Eagles fan, you have to be so elated with this addition of Saquon Barkley. He's everything you could have wanted and more. He almost, or at least he had the opportunity to potentially get the most rushing yards in the season, though they didn't play him the last week of the season. But literally, what more could you ever ask for out of a player than Saquon Barkley has delivered for you this season? Jalen Hurts, he, has played well. Just a great team around him. As for the Chiefs, it felt like a season of, when are they going to lose? They have some pretty insane last second wins, the 27-20 win over the Ravens in week 1, the 26-25 win over the Bengals, the 30-24 win over the Chiefs, the 1917 win over the Raiders on Thanksgiving, the 1917 win over the Chargers that next week. It just felt like, how for real is this team? And I guess it doesn't matter if you're winning by a lot. All that matters is that you're winning. And they won 15 times in the regular season, two more in the playoffs. And, they're looked poised to do it again. Patrick Mahomes, what more can you say about him? Whenever his team needs him to get something done, he gets it done. It's so incredibly impressive. He's the man who, if I were, you know, a betting man, which I guess I am, I'm gonna bet on the Chiefs to win. But if I were to bet on any quarterback to lead a game-winning drive, it's him. He just always does it. So my official pick for this Super Bowl will be Chiefs 32 and Eagles 30. It'll be less than a field goal difference. I think they'll both score a lot of points. I think it will be very fun to watch, and I think, you know, we'll get to see a three-peat, which will be nice, and I think people who either begrudgingly watch or, like, people who say they're not gonna watch and then end up watching will be happy that they did watch, because I do think this will be a very, very fun game as a viewer, whether you hate the Chiefs, hate the Eagles, love the Chiefs, love the Eagles, or pretty indifferent like I am. Like, I don't really care too much about either of them, but let me know. Am I off base on my confidence in Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? Do you think that they will fall just short of their quest to three-peat? Let me know in the comments. So I want to talk a little bit about the legacy involved for winning the Super Bowl. So let's start off with the Eagles here. What would this mean for the Eagles and their franchise? So right off the bat, Jalen Hurts is a legend in Philadelphia. Nick Sirianni probably as well. But Jalen Hurts, he lives up to the contract that they decided to give him. He's able to, you know, like Nick Foles, never buy a drink again in Philadelphia. He probably gets touted as the greatest Philadelphia quarterback, probably edging out McNabb there, or Jaworski maybe. But I think for him, he'd be the first one of that draft class, the really storied 2020 draft class that included Joe Burrow, who almost won a Super Bowl, and then, of course, Justin Herbert, Tua, Jalen Hurts there he'd be the first one to win a Super Bowl, Jordan Love as well. So that would put him above the rest of them there, and I think, as for Nick Sirianni, people don't take him as seriously as maybe he deserves. I think people kind of, like, look at that team and think like, "Oh, anyone could coach them to success," but I do think you have to give him credit for going to a Super Bowl, almost winning, almost beating the Chiefs, now coming back, going to another Super Bowl, and if he does win, I think, he'll be a legendary figure in Philly and in Philly sports there. I think it will be like a testament to Howie Roseman and the job he's done putting all, like, these incredible pieces around the team. I mean, getting Jalen Carter, obviously through extenuating circumstances, but being in the Super Bowl and being able to get like a top 5 talent in an NFL draft is incredibly impressive. There, the it's very interesting because, they won the Super Bowl in 2018. Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate that year. He comes back, he has like a solid season. He gets hurt in the playoff game against the Seahawks, I wanna say. And then he just never returns to form. So they end up drafting Jalen Hurts, and people are like, "Well, why would you draft a quarterback so high if you've already given your quarterback so much money?" They end up making like the pretty bold decision to move on from Jalen Hurts, and I think, it shows at times that's the right decision to make, even if you have invested in another quarterback, right? You go with the person who gives you the best chance to win now, and Jalen Hurts, this is his 2nd Super Bowl. Like, the first one, I guess you could be like, "Well, that's kind of a fluke." Maybe not him doing it, but, like, the fact that he got to another Super Bowl is very impressive to me. So, a lot of credit for the Eagles for making that decision, for walking away from Carson Wentz, from walking away from Doug Peterson, even who won a Super Bowl. And now, they've just been on a great organizational run since the 2000s, right? Like, what, like 8 conference championship games, 4 Super Bowls now. Just so impressive. So that would be the legacy. I would put the Eagles as one of the like more upper echelon teams in the league too, because of this sustained success they've had with different coaches, Andy Reid, Doug Peterson, now Nick Sirianni, different quarterbacks, Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick, Nick Foles, Carson Wentz, and now Jalen Hurts. So I think, that all is what it means for the Eagles to win this Super Bowl. If you're an Eagles fan, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think this means for the legacy of the Eagles should they win the Super Bowl? Should they especially upset Patrick Mahomes and prevent him from three-peating? Let me know in the comments. And I want to look on the other side of the coin for legacy and talk about what this would mean for the legacy of the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, right off the bat, three-peat, first team to ever three-peat in NFL history. They're probably the greatest dynasty of all time. You could have arguments, the Steelers, the 49ers, the Cowboys, and the Patriots, none of them did it all in a row, right? They all at least had 1 year in between. So right off the bat, probably the greatest dynasty ever. Probably like the greatest sustained playoff run ever. And one that doesn't really have any signs of slowing down. Like, on Monday morning, win or lose, would you be confident that the Chiefs would not just be right back here next year? I certainly wouldn't. So they have a chance to really do a lot there. For Andy Reid, this would be like the crowning achievement in his career in terms of he was known as a choker. You can look like urinating tree. He's a huge, if you know me, urinating tree, right? He had a video called like Legacy of Failure, Andy Reid, which like covered all his various playoff shortfalls before they won the Super Bowl the first time. And he was known basically as like a playoff choker as a head coach. He was known as somebody who just could not get it done. And now he's completely flipped the script. He's, in my eyes, gonna be at the end of this one of the greatest coaches of all time, having brought multiple different teams to the Super Bowl, having won the Super Bowl 4 times if they win this one, and 3 in a row. Just an incredible, incredible job here. And then I don't know if this is gonna be controversial, but I think that Patrick Mahomes, if he were to win his 4th Super Bowl, is undisputably the 2nd greatest quarterback of all time already. He's already in the top 10. He's already a Hall of Famer. If he wins 4 Super Bowls in his first, 7 years as a starter, he's the 2nd greatest quarterback ever. Period. There's no argument. And I think you can start planting the seeds for the argument, if people have not already done so, for him being the greatest quarterback of all time. He has 3 more Super Bowls to go if he wins this one, 4 more if he doesn't. But I'm confident that he's gonna win this weekend, and, he's so young that he is in a prime position to just continue to win, continue to be a dominant force for years to come in this league. And, I think as long as Andy Reid stays his head coach, they're a threat to win it every single season. And even if Reid retires, he's still going to be there. So that's what's on the line for him. Travis Kelce, I think, cements himself as the 2nd greatest tight end in NFL history. I give, the edge to Rob Gronkowski. And I just think that like this is really a team that is having the kind of success that we'll probably never see again. Granted, of course, I said that about the Patriots, and then here we are with the Chiefs. But to have someone come into the league and just immediately take it over the way Patrick Mahomes has is just unheard of. You can't predict it. Nobody can stop it. So that's just on the line for the Chiefs should they win. Being like etched, they're already in NFL history, but being like further, you know, to the point where you cannot tell or even start to talk about the greatest teams of all time without talking about these Kansas City Chiefs. So, if you're a Chiefs fan, let me know how you feel about everything that's happened the last few years. Are you nervous for this game? Are you confident? Would love to hear that. And what do you think the legacy of this Chiefs team is right now, and what do you think it would be should they win the Super Bowl? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of Wicked Good Sports. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're, having a lot of fun plans for the Super Bowl. Hope you enjoy it. Check out our live stream before the Super Bowl. We're going to be putting some bets on the game. You'll be able to play along at home, either copying our bets or laughing at us for being so bad at them. But this was the Super Bowl special, preview special. I'll have on Monday the Super Bowl post-game special where we talk about everything that happened in it, what it meant for all of the players, and that should be a lot of fun. We have a lot of basketball videos on the channel due to the trade deadline, so if you're into that, please check those out. The main channel is, of course, Wicked Get Everything, where we cover nerd and pop culture news. Then our podcasting channel is Better Radio, where we have our podcasts that don't have to do with sports there. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.